Ta-da! Okay, what do we need to look at in the next one? Which is, so what is this one? Easy enough? All right, so this one would have a graph that goes up. This one would have a graph that goes down. Something like that. That's not very pretty. So we're about to graph those. This is the same as we did before, but we're going to add in the word asymptote. Have we dealt with asymptotes in this class? Yay. Okay. The asymptote here is horizontal. I'll tell you what an asymptote is. You can write it down. Asymptote is a line the graph approaches but never actually touches. Line. So it gets really, really close to it, but it never touches it. It gets closer and closer and closer, but it never actually touches it. For example, on the front of your paper, the graph, I can't go back on the video, but the graph, like if you look below it, at the bottom of the graph, it gets, as it goes to the left, it gets closer and closer to 0. Like you can't even see it anymore, but it never actually touches 0. So we will see what the asymptote is for this example down here. We'll get that at the end when we see the graph. So, but to figure out what the graph is, let's plug in our numbers again. You don't always have to do -3 to +3, but they're just easy. Okay, so use your calculator or your head. I recommend your calculator because they're kind of big numbers to figure out what all those y's are. Did y'all get the same numbers I got? Yeah. So what happened when we changed the x by 1? What happened every time to the y? By what? A half. Oh, what part of the formula gave us that half it decreased by? B, the decay factor. Okay, so that showed you that for every change of 1 in the x, it'll get divided by a half. Just making connections here. Okay, so let's graph it. Sorry, my graph's a little off. There. Okay, and make every third block 48. I think that works out well. 48, 96, 144. 192. Okay, so at -3, it was at 192. -2, it was at 96. -1 at 48. 0 at 24. 1 at 12. 2 at 6. Gets closer and closer. But as you keep dividing those by a half, it'll never get to 0. So it never actually touches 0, does it? Because 3 divided by a half is 1.5. Divided by a half would be 0.75. Divided by a half would be 0.3 something. Divided by half. See how it gets smaller and smaller but never actually touches 0? So what would the horizontal asymptote be? If you want to abbreviate these, you can. I don't know where the T is in the pronunciation. You can abbreviate that with HA if you want. So you can just say HA is, okay, so what line is this that it never touches? What's the equation for that line?
X, 0.
What equals 0?
X, 0.
What?
No, y.
Yeah, it's y equals 0, right? Because there is where y equals 0. So y equals 0. So whatever that number is that it never totally gets to, that is the horizontal asymptote. Any questions? Okay, homework.